Hello, good people of planet Earth. It is me, Golden, and I am coming to you live and direct from my heart. What's up? So, I am offering an update on what is going on with my YouTube channel. So, I have been desiring to create a podcast for quite some time, and I've had several requests from people who connect with me on social media, especially on Instagram, and ask me to create a podcast where I can free flow on topics and go into more depth and detail on things that I touch on my Instagram. And so as of late, I have created a Patreon page where we are gathering a beautiful little community over there that is dropping in with me on the regular, where I do deep dives specifically focused on the art of awakening, which is essentially a system that is coming through me, that really started coming through me during my cancer initiation healing journey when that all began. And it is basically all the tools in my tool belt for shifting from surviving to thriving and going on the journey of self-exploration, self-knowing, self-actualization. And it's just the art of being human, the art of navigating being on the planet at this very pivotal and challenging time in human history, right? So it's also all aligned with the Earth's elements. So all of my tools and modalities are all connected to the Earth's elements. It's a very much earth-based practice. It's a practice of simplifying and coming home to ourselves, coming home to the earth, and feeling into the truth of who we truly are for our benefit and the benefit of all. So my YouTube channel, what my idea is and my vision is that I am shaping this into more of an intentional visual podcast. So those of you who've been here with me for a while know that I've had a YouTube channel for years, and I have documented my life journey, parts of my healing journey, and got much more consistent here when the cancer part of my journey kicked off. I posted about my diagnosis here just to make it a public share so everyone could all hear about it at once and I wouldn't have to tell people over and over and over and over again. And I just had decided I'm going to publicly document my cancer journey here on YouTube and also on Instagram, so that it could be kind of like a public diary, public journal, personal blog. Excuse me, my nose always runs due to chemo. So the residuals of chemo. So what my intention is to continue to show up here in the realm of YouTube and develop the Art of Awakening podcast. And if you go back, you will see lots of videos of me free-flowing about all kinds of different topics. There are some interviews in there as well, which I like to call interviews, with fascinating human beings that are doing the process of life as art and their own art of awakening in their unique ways. And so feel free to scroll back and check those out. Going forward, I'm going to create a series of interviews with fascinating people in my community here in San Diego. And I'm going to branch out into the world and people that I have met through the realm of social media, to invite them into in-depth conversations on all kinds of topics. I'm also going to continue to show up here and do free-flowing video, I don't even know what to call it. Is it a video podcast? Is it a visual podcast? I'm just going to continue to show up on topics that are very much alive in me and go into more depth here. I find that the constraints, especially of Instagram, I'm not so much into Facebook. I'm much more into Instagram lately, and I also find that there's a lot of challenges, in that space where, stories are super short, IG lives are limited and go away after 24 hours. I really like doing IG lives, but the fact that they go away after 24 hours is kind of frustrating. And then there's IGTV, which also has its limits. There's writing in the captions, which has its spatial limits. And I like to free flow and not be constrained by these automated limits that are placed upon me. And so deeper dives are going to happen here, probably a lot of spontaneous checking in on topics that are coming up in my life. And those of you who've been asking from Instagram for more of this, here you go, it's happening. So yay, stay tuned for that. I have one interview that I'm going to share very soon that I just recorded with my dear sister friend, Kirti Shrivastava. She is a real powerhouse. She is a force of nature, and we just did an in-depth discussion yesterday. It'll be going up here very soon, so stay tuned. And I thought that for this video, I would make the announcement and introduce myself or reintroduce myself to those of you who've been here. But I'll introduce myself and kind of just give you a sense of who I am and where I'm at as of right now in my life journey. So I'll begin with basically identifying who I am. What is my identity? It's always tricky for me to encapsulate myself and define myself with words. Just say it up front. I am a Pisces, and we definitely live in that realm. I think we are most comfortable in the realm that transcends words, and we speak languages that are wordless that most fluently. That's what I find, and that's what I find with other Pisceans that I know. So just let it be known that I'm a Pisces, and I'm pretty straight up true Pisces. So to find words to define myself is always an interesting challenge. I always say that I am eternal source having a human experience, and that I am infinite allness here in a gorgeous, unique, one-of-a-kind masterpiece Earth body temple. Three-dimensional spacesuit. Voila. And I love to play with my body as a costume, and it's a costume for my soul. So I love to dress up with my body, and I love to explore different aspects of my being. I love to just honor what is alive in me in the moment. And so it's kind of like, playing dress up as an art form, or just life, the expression of life as a creative art form. It's fun. I love it. So I'm currently in the process of divesting from the patriarchal, capitalistic programming that was imprinted upon me as a young person and my whole life. So I'm disentangling and deconstructing all of the imprints and programs that were placed upon me in my life that do not resonate with my essence and the truth of who I truly am so that I can be fully embodied, fully expressed, and fully on purpose so that I can fully live my soul's intention for coming and being a human this lifetime. And it's a work in progress. It is quite a process. It is complicated, complex, nuanced, and it's a wild journey, and it's never a dull moment. And I'll probably be speaking a lot about that here. And I speak a lot about it on my Patreon page as well. I am also a mother. That's kind of like the next go-to in my identity. I am a mother of 2 incredible human beings, young adults on this planet. My son is 19, my daughter is 16, and they are just heart melters for me. I am amazed at who they are and amazed at the ferocity and courage of their unique souls. They're both creative and artistic and intelligent and emotionally intelligent and wise beyond their years, and I think that they're very old souls that decided to come in and throw down on planet Earth, and I'm very honored that they chose me as their mama. I spent a large part of their childhood and adolescence parenting as a single mama, although I did have a beloved partner helping me parent for many years of their lives, and deeply grateful to that partner. And I am solo. I'm single, definitely right now, and I am on the journey of rising in love with myself, on this journey of unconditional self-love and acceptance, and accepting and being with this body temple, with the emotional landscape inside, with the mental landscape, with the spiritual and energetic parts of me. I'm really working on just being with who I am and loving who I discover inside of me, and making space for all aspects of me to have a seat at the table and be welcome and be heard and be integrated, so that I can express as a whole person that loves myself. And so I'm going to be talking a lot about embodiment and self-presencing, self-loving, self-knowing, self-expression. What else? I am a lifelong dancer and mover. Dance, I say, is my native tongue, my native language. I definitely speak dance. I speak movement, and that is the language that I'm most comfortable with, is body language and moving this body temple. And it's been quite a beautiful journey. It just developed intuitively as a child. It was my go-to, along with visual arts and creative writing and playing with clothing and being in nature, and just all of the childlike expressions that I had, playing with animals on our family's ranch. But dance was something that was just woven into my everyday expression, and it was my sanctuary, and it was my therapy, and it was my refuge, and it was literally my lifesaver as a child and also as a young adult. It has been woven into my life. Dance is my lifelong partner. I'm in a very committed relationship with dance. Dance has quite literally saved my life more than once, and was actually the thing that swept into my life and literally took me from one track to another as a young adult, when I was spiraling deep into the depths of darkness of substance abuse and just a lack of self-knowing and a lack of self-love. And dance came in and was like, listen, we have another life to live, and it's not this one, so we're going this way. And I became a dance major in college, And it just blasted the doors open to this journey home to myself, a journey into self-loving and self-knowing, a journey into embodiment and self-love in that way, a journey into drumming and singing and dancing and community as a spiritual practice, a journey back into nature as sacred and my spirituality, my spiritual expression. It led me into a community of friendships and sisterhood and partnerships, and helped me mother and helped me just continue to express myself on the journey of life. So I'll be speaking a lot about embodiment and movement here as well, and how dance is an ally for that. I'm just a creative, fun-loving I'm a creative, fun-loving person. That sounds so corny, but I love to be creative. I love to express myself. I love to honor who I am in every moment, and it always seems to just be shifting and evolving, and it's fun. It's a fun adventure, and so I love being creative with clothing. I love being creative in my home sanctuary, the way that I make it cozy and comfortable, and I love to explore life as art. I am a student of Marshall Rosenberg and nonviolent communication, which was taught to me as compassionate communication by my coaches Scott Thomas and Emily Orem. And so I am a certified love coach and practice compassionate communication. I am no master. I am definitely still a student and will be my whole life, but I do my best to put these tools to practice, because I find that it's a system that helps me love all parts of me that I find within, and it helps me have more compassion and presence in relating with others. So this style of communication helps me decode polarized situations to look deeper into feelings and needs. Now, I have messed up so many times in this practice, and so that's like my disclaimer is I do not claim to be a master, but I do claim to be a student and practice this, as not as much as I can, but just I attempt to put it to work every day, and it truly is a game changer. And so I will be sharing more about that here, and hopefully I'll be interviewing my coach, Scott Thomas. I'd love for him to speak more about it here for you all to listen to. And how else do I identify myself? I am a nature lover, a nature worshiper. I definitely feel into my true self when I'm in nature, and nature helps me downregulate my nervous system, recalibrate myself, regenerate myself. I find so much healing in nature, and I'll be speaking much more about that here. I speak a lot about that on Patreon. In fact, I just posted a video there that is called Rewilding and Recalibrating in Nature. So if you want to be a patron and help me pay my rent, come on over to Patreon. The link is going to be below this video. Let's see, what else? I am a person who is walking the pathway of healing cancer in my body. In 2017, I was diagnosed with the most rare and aggressive form of breast cancer. It's called triple-negative breast cancer, and I have been on the healing journey ever since. I was told, as I'm finding many are, that I would die if I did not do the full protocol of the Western allopathic treatments. So I because of the nature of my diagnosis, and because it was the highest degree of aggressiveness, and because it has a high recurrence rate, and because it's so rare that it's not really understood by Western medicine, they did tell me my best chance at living was to do, they said, we're going to throw the kitchen sink at it. That's the approach they take with triple negative breast cancer, because it is so aggressive. So I chose to do integrative healing, and I chose to do the Western allopathic gamut along with all of my own healing modalities. And if you want to know more about that, I was reporting to you live from the Hell Realms. If you go back in my video history, you can see a whole bunch of videos of seeing me go through that in real time. And I'm actually going to do many more podcasts here speaking on what I experienced now, having the blessing of having retrospective vision, looking back at the experience and now able to process what I was going through. And I also want to speak on the implications of undergoing Western allopathic treatments for a harsh for a aggressive cancer such as the one that was going on in my body. I want to have real talk about what I'm experiencing now, having decided to end Western treatments for myself, and am now going the natural route for doing the healing. And I'll speak about why. And I also want to make a video where I reverse engineer the cancer in my body and speak on all of the contributing factors that I have identified to create this cancer in my body. Now, the thing is that for me particularly, I underwent the chemo, and when they did the final MRI before my bilateral mastectomy, they said they could not see any evidence of disease in my breast. Then when they removed the tumor, they said they found living cells still in my tumor. It was about 10% of it was still living. So technically the cancer was still alive when they removed that tumor. And so for that, I underwent radiation, and then they wanted me to continue with more chemo, more surgeries, and 10 years of hormone blockers. And I actually decided to end radiation early, just simply because my body could not withstand any more treatments. It was just done, and I'll speak more about that in other videos, but just a brief synopsis. I just felt in my body that my body could not withstand any more Western allopathic treatments. So now I am on the path of healing with different modalities, and so I'll be speaking more about that here. And I will be interviewing other people who are walking the cancer pathway of healing. And it's really interesting to meet fellow cancer journeyers for me, because there is just this bond that happens that it's so hard to describe, but it's like being initiated into this secret club that nobody wants to be initiated to, but here we all are. And there's a kinship and there's a connection that it's wild. It's like meeting family beyond blood, you know? And so I want to introduce people to you who have fascinating stories to tell of their own healing journey. There's so many people that I know that I want to get in here to have them speak to you. So stay tuned for that. Wow, like what is going on with Anyways, how else do I identify myself? I identify myself as a descendant of peoples who were displaced from their own lands and original homes in Northern Europe and came this way to the United States to seek refuge and to seek settlement and land here. And so it's a very interesting unpacking for me to explore my lineage as a white person here in the United States on First Peoples lands. And I've been exploring the nuance of what that means for me and exploring deep into my roots of what was it like in my lineage prior to that displacement, and what was it like prior to Christianity coming in and enforcing a belief system. And so I've been feeling deeply back into my lineage and into my roots and exploring my connection to the ways in my lineage of connection to the land, connection to self, connection to source, connection and community. So I feel all the way back to the times that were prior to patriarchy, into the more of the matriarchal times. And so it's a feeling into deep back in my roots, and I like to follow those roots all the way back to the origins of humanity, and I like to follow those all the way back to pre-humanity, into the earliest times on this planet. And then I like to feel back to the time of the planet coming into formation and the cosmos coming into formation, and following that all the way back to source. And I like to feel into the oneness of all of us. So a big part of my work is shifting from I to we, to be consciousness, into that oneness consciousness. I like to feel into the familial connections of humanity while simultaneously honoring the nuance and the diversity of the ways that humans have developed on the planet. I like to feel into our connections. I like to see us all as family, as distant cousins, all of us, right? And I'm doing a lot of work of unpacking and understanding my white privilege and understanding how to most gracefully be on this planet and be in service in a way that is honoring all. So this is the journey I'm on, and thank you so much for being on the journey with me, and let's continue to flow together. Feel free to leave topic ideas in the comments below, and in the description box I will link my website if you want to work with me one-on-one for coaching. I also do podcast interviews, workshops, and speak at events and facilitate rituals. Oh, that's something that I didn't mention, my identity. I am really stripping back my spiritual connection to the essence of who I am, and really trying to figure out the languaging around how to even language that for you. So that's a work in progress. And so yeah, come hang out on Patreon with me if you want to be a patron, and if you want to invest in helping me get my basic needs met. Good on ya. Thank you. And what else? Join me on Instagram. I have fun over there, and I'll link all of that below. So wishing you the most epic, gorgeous, beautiful day. May this be the most incredible day of your life, and thank you if you made it this far. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you for support, and I will see you soon.